Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chugs. Before we get into why this game means just a little bit more for your Houston Texans, I have a question for you. How long have you been a Houston football fan? And notice how I said Houston football fan, because obviously we all know the Houston Oilers, they were here before the Houston Texans. So I want to know, if you were an Oilers fan, let me know, when did you start watching Houston football? If you started with the Texans, all good. Let me know when you started watching Texans football. But if you were around, if you were watching Oilers football, let me know, how long have you been a Houston football fan? I'm looking down in the comment section because, like I said, on today's show, I'm going to tell you why this wild card matchup means just a little bit more to the city of Houston. It means a little bit more to all the Texans fans out there. And by the end of today's show, you'll be like, even though if maybe you weren't around during this time, maybe if you didn't even see what I'm going to be talking about, a part of you is going to be like, yeah, it means a little bit more to me as well.
Getting ready for some football, some Texans Today party.
All right, here we go. A wild card matchup between the Texans and the Steelers. Monday Night Football. Going to be kicking off 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:15 Central Time. We'll be live an hour before kickoff. And just wanted to give you a little update on our subscriber battle. We are catching up to Steelers talk, and I don't want to stop right here. So if you haven't already, hit that sub button for free Texans content all year long, and I don't want to lose to our Steelers channel on or off the field. Now, before I get going into this segment, I do want to say, obviously this game is big for both teams, right? It's a playoff game. It's a win or go home. And for the Pittsburgh Steelers, more than that, on a couple fronts, it's really big for them, right? Mike Tomlin could be coaching for his job. A lot of people had the, thought of whoever lost that Ravens-Steelers game might lose their job, and we see John Harbaugh got booted from Baltimore. A lot of people were saying if the Steelers lost that game, Mike Tomlin might have gotten fired from Pittsburgh as well. So if he loses this game bad, that might be the end of Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. And then Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have many years left in the NFL. He's getting up there in age. So who says whether or not this is going to be his last year in the NFL? So obviously, he's playing for that as well. So I'm not saying this isn't big for them either. What I'm saying is it means just a little bit more to the city of Houston. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why. First up, Houston fans, we were in the dumps 4 years ago. We were in, football hell, as I'll put it. Because for 3 straight seasons, we had horrific Texans football that we had to watch. 2020, this team went 4-12. 2021, this team went 4-13. And in 2022, this team went 3-13-1, getting the 2nd overall pick in the NFL draft. It was awful watching Texans football for 3 straight seasons. And I know a lot of people gave up on this team. I know a lot of people were done watching this Texans team play football because it was a bad product. It was awful. We didn't have fun watching the Texans play for 3 whole seasons up until everything changed. Whenever DeMeco Ryans got hired as head coach, the Texans drafted C.J. Stroud. And then maybe one of the best trades in franchise history. Funny enough, because the Texans, before this, whenever you said Texans trade, you were thinking of one of the worst trades in NFL history whenever they traded away DeAndre Hopkins. But they went ahead and moved up. They got Will Anderson Jr. They also got Kalen Bullock by trading up in the draft with the Arizona Cardinals. So the Texans, they were in the dumps for a long time. And as I said, Texans fans, we were out of it, right? And now, ever since DeMeco Ryans, ever since C.J. Stroud, the entire city of Houston has kind of been lifted up. The entire sports scene in Houston has been lifted up just a little bit more. Texans fans, it's cool to wear Texans gear now. You don't get clowned at your office. You don't get clowned at school. You don't get made fun of by wearing a Texans jersey, by wearing Texans gear. So, leading up to now, I would say we deserve to go on a playoff run, and we deserve to have a good season for Houston football because we've endured a lot. And that's not even going back to whenever this franchise started and going back to whenever our team was taken away from us. The city of Houston, in terms of football, has been through a ton in the past 30 years. So yeah, this game does mean just a little bit more to the city of Houston. And coming up, I'm going to give you 2 more reasons. And the biggest reason why this game means more to the city of Houston. Before I do, quick word from our sponsor over at PrizePicks. Today's show wouldn't be possible without our friends at PrizePicks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard, but in life and on PrizePicks, it always feels good to be right. With high player playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops, and PrizePicks lets you take control. New feature alert. PrizePicks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. And for this game, I made a pretty good lineup, and you can use my lineup, or you can go ahead and make your own. For this game, I'm going Aaron Rodgers more on the interceptions, CJ Stroud more on the passing touchdowns, Jaylen Warren less on his rush yards, and then Will Anderson Jr., I'm going more on the sacks. And I'm doing a power play, because how you play on PrizePicks, that is up to you, right? If you want flexibility, choose the flex play, where you can get paid even if your picks miss. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter how you play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. So go download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Join the millions of users and sign up today for America's #1 fantasy sports app. All that information down in the comments and description of today's show. The second reason why it means just a little bit more. The Texans as a franchise have never made the AFC Championship Game. And actually, they're the only team in the National Football League to have never made their conference championship game, right? And obviously, they are the newest team, so it does make a little bit of sense. They came around in 2002. I put some asterisks here because, right, the Baltimore Ravens, they moved from Cleveland, and the Cleveland Browns, they got their team back in 1999, and they also were able to get all their history along with it. So there's a weird situation with these two teams. But then before that, the two other expansion teams, the Jaguars in 95 and the Panthers in 95. Both these teams have made the AFC and NFC championship games respectively, but the Houston Texans are the only team who has not had that feat yet. And it would be great to finally get there and just get that weight off our shoulders, right? Get that, that elephant out of the room of the Texans franchise being one of the worst in the NFL, the Texans franchise being known as the team that can never get it done, the team that never goes on a deep playoff run, can never be taken seriously. Because when you think about teams in the NFL, right, all the older teams, when they make the playoffs, it's like, oh, yeah, they could definitely go on a run. They can definitely do this or that. When you think of the Houston Texans, it's always a hot take. Even if they were the #1 seed, it's a hot take if they can make it to the AFC Championship Game, because they've never done it before in franchise history. And they have a chance to do that this year. It all starts with this game up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's why I think it means just a little bit more for the city of Houston, for the Houston Texans. And the last reason, and this is why I asked the question at the beginning of the show, the Mike Renfro catch. A lot of y'all might not know what I'm even talking about here. And obviously, this isn't Houston Texans history. This is Houston Oilers history. But it is still the city of Houston. It is still Houston versus Pittsburgh. And if you're old enough to remember this catch, the 1979 AFC Championship Game, Mike Renfro got 2 feet inbounds, caught the ball up against the Steelers, and they ruled it an incomplete pass. This is actually what was kind of the catalyst, what sparked instant replay in the NFL. Now, they didn't get instant replay until 1986, but still, this was the main factor, one of the main reasons why they started to implement it. And bottom line, Houston got screwed. They lost to the Steelers in back-to-back AFC Championship games, and many people point to that Renfro catch as the big factor, the big game changer in that 1979 game. So yeah, for the city of Houston, it means just a little bit more, especially going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that, let's be honest, feel like we kind of got cheated out of that game against them, right? If you go back, if you just want to type in the Mike Renfro catch, I guarantee you it'll pop up. It's very clear and simple that he got both feet in bounds, and it should have been a touchdown. The legendary Bum Phillips, rest in peace, was absolutely going livid on the sidelines in his cowboy hat, as he should be, because his team just got screwed. So for all these reasons, and probably many more, this game just means a little bit more to the city of Houston. And as I mentioned, I will be live for this game, Monday Night Football. Texans going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers in a wild card matchup. Win or go home. We'll be live an hour before kickoff. So make sure you tune in, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and join me for this Texans playoff game where, as I said, it just means a little bit more.